So you're looking into Chattanooga and you know all the big names like Ottawa and Hickson, Soddy Daisy, Signal Mountain, so on and so forth, but you're trying to find these little hidden gems or places that you can't really find online. And in today's video, we're going to discuss top 9 areas in Chattanooga that you probably never heard of. So as we get into today's video, we're going to discuss kind of 3 or 4 criteria for each of these areas: where it's located on the map, a pro of the area or a couple pros, a couple cons, and the house prices or the average house prices in the area. So let's get right into it. The first place you probably have not heard of is an area or a city called Cleveland, Tennessee. And if you look on the map, this is far eastern side of Chattanooga, and it's actually in a different county altogether, in Bradley County. And this is a city of itself. It's right off of 75. So even though it's pretty far out from Chattanooga because 75 runs right over the northern part of it, it's really only about 30 minutes from the kind of general Cleveland area all the way down to downtown Chattanooga. Now, of course, if you live on the southern or eastern part of Cleveland and you're a little bit further out from 75, and maybe a little bit further out, but for the most part, it's anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes from Cleveland all the way down to downtown Chattanooga. Now let's discuss a couple of pros from Cleveland that you can find here. I've also done another video on Cleveland and you can kind of check it out. I'll link it somewhere above. So a couple pros of Cleveland is that, one, the cost of living here as far as home costs or home prices go are a lot cheaper or more affordable than other areas of the Chattanooga or Hamilton County. So that's a big pro. Things that you can find here are more like country settings or rural settings, country living. So it's a lot less congested than other parts of Chattanooga and other places that we're going to discuss today. So if you're looking for a slower pace of life, cheaper housing, a little bit more country feel, this is a great spot for you to consider. Plus, it still has Target, Walmart, all these stores that you need. It does not, and let's go into the cons, it does not have a lot of restaurant options as you would find in places like Hamilton Mall Place or downtown. Of course, it does have restaurants, it does have some local restaurants, but if you're looking for a lot more options, downtown is probably where you want to be or closer to downtown. So that's a con of this area. And it is about 30 to 40 minutes from downtown Chattanooga. I get a lot of people calling me and asking me, hey, I want to live, within 20 to 30 minutes from Chattanooga. And typically Cleveland is a little bit too further out for them. For whatever reason, they want to be close to downtown where most of the festivals, restaurants, and things to do are. So this is a con for Cleveland. Now, what are the home prices that you can find here? The average year-to-date home prices in Cleveland are $305,000. So as you can see, it's very affordable. It's way below the national average, which I believe is $415, $425 or so like that. So we're way above the national average as far as home prices go in Cleveland, and I believe it's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the list that we're going to discuss today. The next that we're going to discuss is Harrison, Tennessee. So if we look on the map, it's still eastern of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it kind of flows along the southern part of the Tennessee River along this area that I'm going to show you on the map. And a couple of pros to this area, as you can see, it's right next to the water. So you have a lot of water sports or a lot of water things that you can do here. There's a bunch of boat docks everywhere. You also have the very first state park of Tennessee is actually Harrison Bay State Park, which you can find right here. So you have camping and you have RV docks, boat docks, all this type of stuff that you can find in this park. And you also have a golf course that's right on the bay as well. So if water is important to you, or being close to water, or maybe even getting a house with a water view, this is a great option for you. And it's also an up and coming area. There's a lot of construction going on here. There's a lot of development, but you can still find it at a reasonable price compared to other places. And we'll discuss the price in just a minute, where it's not super expensive yet because it's still on the up and up. Now, a couple cons that you can find here, kind of like Cleveland, it's a little bit more country rural feeling. I've already said that it is starting to become developed. So, maybe 5 years from now, there's going to be a lot more things here, like restaurants and things to do. But at the present time, there's not a lot of restaurants that you can find here. And depending where in Hickson you live, you might actually be a little bit further out than you would in Cleveland. You might be 30, 40, even 45, 50 minutes, depending how far up the river on the northern part of Hickson that you actually live, on the further part of Harrison that you actually live. And this could be a huge negative to people that they might still want to live by, water, but they don't want to be that far from downtown. So it's a huge con for this area. And the average home price for this area is $351,000, which is way more affordable than a lot of the other areas in Chattanooga. Again, way below the national average. So it's a huge pro that this area, the average home prices are $351,000. The third area that we're going to discuss is somewhere that I haven't even discussed yet on any of all my other videos, which is Ringgold, Georgia. Now, I have not discussed a lot yet on northern Georgia areas, which I will make a lot more videos moving forward. But Ringgold, if you look on the map, obviously it's in the Georgia side, on the far eastern side, compared to downtown Chattanooga. A couple of pros from this area: the landscape here is beautiful. Ringgold is a nice kind of quaint small town, but it's surrounded by mountains. It's very beautiful, very green, very lush. So if you like kind of that scenery, that landscape, this is definitely a good option for you. And also another huge plus or pro for this area is that according to niche.com, it has the #2 rated school district in the whole area. So Catoosa County, which Ringgold is in, has the #2 rated school system. So it's a huge plus for families or young families that want to live in a good school system. And I will put the link below for where you can find niche.com and all their school rankings. So school is important to you. You have young kids or kids that are going to be going into school sometime soon. This is definitely an area that you should look into. Even with the good school systems, you also have family-friendly vibe, a lot of parks in this area, so it's great for young families or families in general. So let's discuss the cons. So the cons for this area is mainly that obviously it's in Georgia. So what is the big con with it being in Georgia? So in Georgia, you have state income tax, whereas in Tennessee, you do not have state income tax. And I believe it's about 5% of your income, plus typically property taxes, most times, not always, are a little bit more expensive in the Georgia side. So it's mainly for tax reasons why it would be a con over here. But now as we go into the home prices, typically home prices in Georgia are a little bit cheaper. So you get the cheaper home prices, you pay a little bit more in property tax, and you pay state income tax. That's something that you have to weigh out. And in Ringgold, Georgia, the average home price is about $310,000. Again, way below the national average, and a great option for you if you like school systems, nice landscape, and you know, the whole tax structure type stuff is not a big deal for you. So the fourth location that we're going to discuss now is Lookout Valley. I've made a whole new video on Lookout Valley, and I have it linked above wherever that is. And Lookout Valley, if we look on the map, is on the west side. When you look and compare it to downtown Chattanooga, it's actually on the very edge of Hamilton County. And once you pass Lookout Valley, you actually go into the central time zone. So it is a great spot that's situated between a couple of mountains, including Lookout Mountain, which brings me into the pro or a couple of pros of this area. If you want mountain views, if you want to have a house that your backyard or your front yard, you can just see beautiful mountains, this is probably one of the best areas in all of the Chattanooga or greater Chattanooga area to have mountain views, because you have Lookout Mountain right next to you, you have Elder Mountain, you have a bunch of different mountains around you. And probably no matter where you live, unless you have a house that's like 2 stories high right in your backyard, you're gonna have a mountain view anywhere in this area. And it's one of the most beautiful areas for mountain views. I can't stress that enough. Another great pro to this area is that you're kind of close-ish to downtown. When you do not have traffic, you're about 10 to 15 minutes to get to downtown. And moving into the cons, one of the biggest cons of this area is the traffic. So you have I-24 that kind of is the only way in and out of Lookout Valley, and that's really where we get the most congestion or the most traffic in the Chattanooga area. My business partner lives in Lookout Valley, and they have traffic all the time, especially in the morning and in the afternoon during kind of that rush hour traffic time. You get a lot of traffic, you get a lot of congestion, so that's a huge con. If you don't want to live anywhere near traffic, I would suggest you staying away from this area, and it's something that you have to know. And now going into the price point, the average price point here is $415,000. Now something that I will mention is that you have a huge subdivision called Black Creek, and I'm actually probably going to make a video on just that subdivision alone, which is a little bit higher end subdivision. And those houses there sell anywhere from $550 to $600 plus, as opposed to everywhere else in this area, it could range, you know, anywhere from $200 to $500 or even little bit more, but for the most part, it's under $500,000. So that subdivision alone being in this area brings the average price point up. But everywhere else you can find $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses, typically without a problem, and obviously depending on inventory. So the average price point is $415,000, but just know that the average price point is lifted up a lot because of that one specific very big subdivision that's more on the higher end. Okay, going into the fifth area is East Ridge. So if we're looking on the map, it's right above the Georgia border, and it's eastern when you compare it to downtown Chattanooga. You have I-75, which kind of crosses right almost in the middle of it, and East Ridge is a growing small city. It's its own city and has its own tax structures with property taxes and stuff like that. It's growing like crazy. It has the Red Wolves soccer stadium there. It has, you know, Bass Pro Shop, Top Golf that you can find there. It's a city that's growing. It's doing a lot of development. It's doing a lot of infrastructure. It's trying to grow and trying to provide a lot to its residents. And also you have Camp Jordan here, which is a huge camp system where you have, you know, leagues for kids and adults. You have a bunch of baseball fields and fields. There's a lot of things that go on in East Ridge, and it's a great area to live if you have a family or you just like to be active in your community. They're definitely active in their community there. Now, a couple cons of the area is that you typically don't have a lot of houses or lots that you can have space in. So East Ridge is very condensed. It's a smaller area, so a lot of the lots there, maybe you can get a 1/4 acre, maybe even a 1/2 acre, but you're gonna have to go a little bit higher on the price point. And there's not a lot of restaurant options there. You're probably 15 minutes from downtown, which is a pro, but it's not something that's in your backyard that you can kind of just go to every day. It's something that you're gonna have to drive away from, and you're also pretty close to the mall, another 10 to 15 minutes depending on where you live, which is a pro. But you know, lot sizes for homes, it's very hard to find bigger ones, and also you don't have a lot of dining and conveniences in East Ridge itself. Now, as far as the price points go, the average price point is $331,000, which is not bad, and it is a little bit more than a couple of areas that we talked about, but still way less than other areas that we're still going to get into. So $331,000 is the average price point, still way below the national average, and a great option for you. The next place that we're going to discuss is Southside Historic District, or just Southside. If we look on the map, it's actually on the southeast-ish part of the downtown or general downtown area. And it's actually in the heart of the downtown, or kind of area of downtown, that has a lot of amenities, a lot of restaurants, a lot of walkability things to do, and that's a huge pro of the area. You know, typically you'll find a lot of homes that live next to restaurants or next to schools. So whenever I have breakfast or whenever I have business meetings in the mornings, you see a lot of families walk their kids to schools or walk their kids to the breakfast place, have some breakfast, and then walk directly to the school. So this is an area that's very walkable, it's very active. If you like a lot of moving things, if you like people being out and about, this is a good place for you to consider. Now, a couple of cons: if you're looking for a single family home on a big lot or even any type of lot, single family homes here are very hard to find. Typically you will find more townhomes, and they're starting to build a lot more townhomes and a lot more condos in this area because it's kind of booming and there's not a lot of space. So they're trying to avoid these single family homes, or if they do build the single family homes, it's really those like really tall, straight and narrow single family homes. If that's your style and you like the walkability, it might be a perfect place for you. But if you're looking for more space, we might have to look elsewhere. And the average home price of this area is $394,000. Not crazy, but at the same time, not very low like a couple other places that we have discussed. If this is in your price range and everything I've said appeals to you, might be the perfect place for you, but the average price point is $394,000. The seventh area that we're going to discuss is North Chattanooga. Now, if we look on the map, it's north of the Tennessee River, not in Riverview itself, but a little bit to the right. As we follow the river, a little bit northern part is the northern Chattanooga area. So a couple of pros to this North Chattanooga area is that it's super close and super convenient to downtown, but you can still get that suburb and even find homes with a little bit bigger lots. Now, you are definitely going to pay for it because it is a little bit more expensive in this area, but if you just want to live kind of a suburb type feel but be 5 minutes from downtown or 5 minutes from any restaurant or anything else that you need, this is definitely a great option for you. You also have a lot of nice parks in the area. Obviously you have Coolidge Park, which is a really big famous park in the area, but you also have a bunch of other parks that you can go mountain biking, Stingers Ridge and other places like that in this area. So if you like those things, this is a huge pro for you. And a con for the area is that typically this is a higher price point. If you want yard or you want half an acre or an acre or more, you're gonna have to come out of pocket for it. And you know, if that's not a big deal to you, we can definitely find what you're looking for. And another big con is that houses here typically don't go for sale a lot. And if they do go for sale, typically they are outdated and need a lot of work to be updated. And you know, inventory here is always lacking. It's a very popular place that a lot of people want to move to that are coming from out of town, but it's very hard to find inventory here. But don't worry, me and my business partner, we typically are able to cold call areas for you. So if you guys are looking to move to the Chattanooga area, whether this area or any other area you have discussed, feel free to reach out to me on the number on your screen, because we can cold call neighborhoods for you. We can find things that you're looking for that are maybe not even stuff that you can see on Zillow or the MLS. We can definitely find you, help you find the house that you're looking for. So going to the home prices, and the average home price here is $500,000. Again, there are bigger price point homes here. You know, I would say more of the average being around that 500,000, but there's million and multi-million dollar houses here that go for sale all the time. There are smaller houses that, you know, 2-1 or 3-1s that are very old school houses that go for $350,000, $400,000. So it's not just everything that's at 500. It's kind of that big, huge range. The eighth area that I want to discuss is Appleton, Tennessee. So if we look on a map, it's on the far eastern side of the county in relation to Chattanooga, Tennessee, downtown. And it's actually on the very furthest eastern side that you can get from the county. If you pass Appleton, you're into the next county, which is Bradley County. And some of the pros for this area is that you get a really nice country feel, but you still get really nice new updated homes for the most part in this area. The Appleton has been developed a lot already. I think that there's still about another 20 to 40% to be developed, depending if people want to sell off their land or not. But it has a lot more modern homes, but it still has a lot of other homes that have land in it. I believe there's a house that just closed the other day for, I don't know, $2.5 million, but it was literally in front of one of the best schools in the area, according to many other people, and it had about 20 acres, right? So you can still get houses with a lot more acreage if you want to pay for it, or you can just get a new build in this area and be in the country feel, but in a nice neighborhood. And something that's really nice about this area, you have a lot of nice back roads. So if you like to go, you know, ultra running or just running on back roads, this is a great place. Or if you like to go road biking, this is a great option for you, because there's back roads that you can go 100 miles if you want to. And also you're really close to Southern Adventist University, which they have 2 mountains that they maintain for trails. So, you know, mountain biking, hiking, running, jogging, walking, all that type of stuff. You can go probably 5 to 8 minutes away from where you live and get all these trails that's free to the public, and they have probably 50 to 100 miles worth of trails that you can access there. So it's definitely a plus for this area. Now, a couple of cons of this area is that there's probably maybe 1 or 2 local restaurants that I can think of in this area, and they're really small. So if you're looking for dining, if you're looking for shopping, if you're looking for amenities other than, you know, a Publix supermarket or not even a Walmart in this area, you would have to drive other places. This would be a huge con for you because there's not a lot of things here. Again, Appleton is very small. Most of Appleton is housing developments or just acreages of open, you know, land. There's even some cattle that you can find here. So shopping, dining, restaurants, all that type of stuff you won't find here. So if you need that in your backyard, this will be a huge con for you. And the average price point that you can find here in Appleton is $590,000. Again, that comes with, you know, all the new builds and the new construction coming here. They're a lot bigger homes, and they typically go for a lot more. That doesn't mean we can't find you things for, you know, cheaper. I have helped clients buy homes here in the $200,000 range, right? Of course, you don't get that 1 to 5 acres, but you have a really nice home in a really nice area. So the average price point is $590,000, but don't let that deter you from the area, because we can also find inexpensive options for you here as well. And then the last one that I want to discuss today, number 9, is Red Bank. If we look on the map, it's north of Chattanooga, and it's actually a very, very small area that you will find Red Bank in. So one of the main pros that you would find from Red Bank is that, one, it has a smaller town feel that's kind of surrounded by a lot more big city, and you can reach downtown Chattanooga within 5 to 10 minutes max. So that's a huge plus, because you can kind of live a little bit further out from the city, kind of have that, you know, country or like suburb feel. but you're at restaurants, you're at things to do, you're at festivals, you're at Tivoli Theater and all these other places within 5 to 10 minutes, and people love that about Red Bank. Cons about living in this area, it's very small, right? You know, if you're driving through Red Bank, you could blink and kind of miss the whole area. There's not a lot going on here. There might be some fast food places here, but restaurants and things to do, you're gonna have to go elsewhere, which is downtown. So it's not a huge con because you have to, you know, only drive 5 to 10 minutes, but it's not in your backyard. And a lot of people want that type of stuff, you know, 5 minutes or maybe even biking or walking distance from their house. The average price point that you can find here is $296,000, and that's actually probably the cheapest one out of this whole list next to Cleveland. So if that is your price range and you really like how that sounds and everything I said about Red Bank, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you make the move to the area, to Red Bank, or any of the areas that I've spoken about today. And that's today's video, guys. I know I didn't hit up Ottawa or Hickson or Saudi Daisy or Signal, you know, all these places that people typically know about. I wanted to make a video that would appeal to you and maybe give you some more ideas of different places that you can think about. So if you guys are looking to move to the area, feel free to reach out to me on the number on your screen. I've helped probably 100 families at this point move to the area, and I love connecting with you guys. I love helping you guys. So if you have any questions, write them down below in the comments, or shoot me a call or give me a text. I would love to help you guys out. Until next time, take care and God bless.